Hey everyone, welcome to the Royce Reports. I'm your host Royce. This channel is dedicated to mostly Xbox related news, but I do dabble in other gaming related topics and reviews. So if you think you might be interested in any of that, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And today we're going to be talking about the Call of Duty opening sales. We're going to be talking about the most recent updates that Phil Spencer has decided to just talk about and has relentlessly released to us. And also, to top it all off, we're going to be touching on Fable and to see if maybe Fable is not in a good place or a good state. So with that, let's get into the gaming. Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2 is probably one of the biggest Call of Duty launches of all time, if not the biggest Call of Duty launch of all time, according to Activision Blizzard. But I just want to say that this game was one of the most anticipated Call of Duties that I've ever had waited for. I've been looking forward to this game for a long time, and I'm glad that it is as successful as it is because I've heard nothing but great things. I haven't been able to hop into it just yet because I've been busy with God of War, the 2018 God of War, and playing through that. But whenever I do have some free time, I am definitely going to try to hop in there and see how it feels. But this opening sales for this game crossed $800 million in 3 days. 3 days, it crossed $800 million. And this is what the VGC had to say about that. Modern Warfare 2 launch sales breaks franchise sales record, Activision claims. The game generated $800 million in 3 days, according to its publisher. That's according to publisher Activision, which claimed on Monday that the game topped $800 million in sales in its first 3 days of availability. In doing so, it surpassed the previous 5-day franchise sales record set in 2011 by Modern Warfare 3. Activision claimed the game's blockbuster launch was the highest grossing entertainment opening of the year, topping the combined worldwide box office opening of Top Gun Maverick and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That is crazy. That is absurd about how much money they made in the first 3 days. And that's not to include all the sales that they're going to be making later on, obviously. Like, the holidays are going to be extremely busy, and Call of Duty is probably going to be the #1 selling game of the year, despite the success of Elden Ring. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But this goes to show that Call of Duty fans have been waiting for a good Call of Duty game for a really long time. Like, the last good Call of Duty game, in my opinion, was 2019 Modern Warfare. You had Black Ops Cold War, which had a good story, but the gameplay and the online multiplayer aspect to it was really lacking, in my opinion. And then you jump over to Vanguard, and Vanguard was absolutely trash. Vanguard fucking sucks. Vanguard is terrible. And so you have these fans of Call of Duty who've been waiting, who've been really wanting a good multiplayer experience. And I think Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is exactly that. Infinity Ward knows how to make a good Call of Duty game. And I'm super excited to hop into it and try it. But this is, I want to talk about the Activision Blizzard portion of this and the Xbox acquisition of them, and also the concerns that the CMA might have over this, because earlier this year and earlier a month ago, we talked about how the CMA is kind of worried about Call of Duty and how Call of Duty is this huge blockbuster game that can't be topped by any other game. No other rival can ever do what Call of Duty does. And they're kind of right. And this proves that they're kind of right. Like, there is no other game that's going to be making $800 million in 3 days. That is crazy. Like, I can't emphasize enough how crazy that is, because they show you Doctor Strange and Top Gun, and it both beat out both those movies on their opening weekends combined. And those movies are the biggest movies of the year. So there is no other form of media that can do something like that. Gaming is huge, and a lot of people don't really pay attention to that. But going back to the CMA, they had concerns that Call of Duty is this huge blockbuster event that no one's going to really be able to compete with. And they kind of have a point there. But they also are considering the fact that, hey, if Microsoft acquires them and they make them exclusive, then you're going to shut off PlayStation and you're going to have all those people on PlayStation move over to Xbox and pretty much kill off PlayStation. Do I think that's going to happen? No. But again, this is good fuel for both of the concerns that people have. You have PlayStation who said, hey, look at how much money they're making off of this. Look how much people are loving this game. They cannot remove this from this platform. They should not be the sole holders of Call of Duty. And then you look over at Microsoft and you can say, yeah, we made a lot of money off of this deal, off of this game coming out, but that money wouldn't have been made if it wasn't for the player base that's already on PlayStation. And that's the thing, that Sony even congratulated Call of Duty on the biggest third-party launch in PlayStation history, which this is what they had to say about that. Modern Warfare 2 was released on October 28th and enjoyed the biggest PlayStation Store launch ever for a Call of Duty game, including pre-orders and day one sales, according to Sony. Thank you to our talented team that has created magic through extraordinary artistry and technology, and to the global community of players who find joy and connection through Call of Duty, said Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick. This milestone belongs to them. Yeah, that's crazy. Most of the players of Call of Duty are on PlayStation, so that's an awesome feat that they're able to accomplish there. And I hope that, some people get raises, some people kind of expect this to be motivation for developers. I hope that they do pay back the developers for all the time and energy that they put into making this game. So even Phil Spencer had a take on this, and he did a recent interview with some people on YouTube. To help alleviate some of these concerns, Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer recently confirmed point blank in an exclusive interview with YouTubers Justine and Jenna Ezrick on their Same Brain podcast that the company intends to continue shipping Call of Duty on PlayStation as long as there's a PlayStation out there to ship to. Quote, as long as there's a PlayStation out there to ship to, our intent is that we continue to ship Call of Duty on PlayStation, end quote, Spencer told Justine and Jenna Ezrick. Spencer goes on to make comparisons to what Microsoft has done with Minecraft and how it's expanded to places where people can play Minecraft before sharing the desire to take the same approach in terms of where Call of Duty can go. Quote, since similar to what we've done with Minecraft, since we've owned that, we've expanded to places people can play Minecraft. We haven't reduced the places, and it's been good for the Minecraft community, in my opinion. And I want to do the same as we think about where Call of Duty can go, end quote. Quote, we announced in January 2022 our intent to acquire Activision Blizzard King, and now we are in the regulatory process, which means I spend a lot of time in front of regulators talking about this industry and what our intent is with the deal. We expect that it will close in this fiscal year for Microsoft, which is this crazy thing that ends in June. We kind of think in that time frame is when it will close. I'm pretty confident in the deal closing. So again, Phil Spencer is reiterating that Call of Duty is not going anywhere. Like, it's going to be on PlayStation, the same as it is going to be on Xbox, and this franchise is going to continue to ship on PlayStation as long as PlayStation is a brand. So that seems clear enough to me. I mean, he said it before and he's saying it again, but also the thing is, they haven't acquired them yet, so you don't really know what they're going to do with the studio until they do get their hands on them. But we'll see. Maybe the CMA doesn't believe them, and that's why they're doing their investigation process, which is to be expected. Yeah, that's Call of Duty. Call of Duty is huge. It is. I kind of underplayed it. I thought it wasn't as big as it was until this launch, where it was huge. It is again ginormous. It's a huge hit. So with that, let's move on to Fable. So Fable, one of my favorite franchises of all time, as you know, is making a comeback with Playground Games at the helm and creating this new take on the Fable franchise. And we haven't really seen anything or heard anything about it other than the initial teaser set in 2020. And after that, it's been kind of radio silent. You have little things here and there about them hiring and stuff, but you haven't really heard anything about any gameplay coming out, any leaked images, nothing. So when Embracer bought the Crystal Dynamics, Square Enix Montreal, and Eidos Montreal divisions, they kind of they had some stuff that came out, and this is all being reported by Jason Schreier. So this is what he had to say on some of this stuff going on. Eidos Montreal is contributing to Xbox's Fable as Embracer closes a recently acquired studio. The recently acquired studios are reportedly the focus of cost-saving measures. And here's just some bullet points that you need to know from the article that I'll just be kind of talking about. And just these are the bullet points that are going to be used during this discussion. Number 1, Embracer Group acquired 3 studios, Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal from Square Enix for $300 million earlier in 2022. That's a steal. That's a huge steal for those studios. They're talented. Despite Avengers, they're very, very talented studios. 2, Square Enix Montreal, which was renamed Onoma, is reportedly being shut down. So this studio is known for their Hitman Go series as well as some other mobile games, but they're shutting the studio down. Some people are going to be losing their jobs, but they're going to move the majority of them to Crystal Dynamics and to Square Enix to just like shake up the costs and all that, because they want it to be a more cost-effective studio. Eidos Montreal will reportedly be assisting Xbox and Playground Games with the upcoming Fable game. And this is the most important part of this, I think. This is to show that Embracer is, I don't know if this deal was in place before Embracer bought them. I don't know if this is in place because Embracer bought them. But this is the second studio that is helping Xbox. The second AAA studio. We have Crystal Dynamics, which is helping the initiative with Perfect Dark, and that has a lot of controversy around it. And now you have Eidos Montreal coming and helping Playground Games. Now, I don't think this is anything to be worried about, because you can see that I think Microsoft has a way of doing this, has a new way of trying to go about making these games, which is having these crews go and make the basic plan, the basic idea of what they want, and then having another team come in and do the grunt work and the brute force of the project. Now, you can argue that you have support studios for that. That's why you have support studios. And it's weird that you're hiring 2 AAA game studios to do the bulk of the work here. But I don't think this is anything to be worried about. I know that like with Perfect Dark, they have everyone leaving and they had the shake up in the studios and stuff. That's something to be worried about. But with Playground Games, you don't really hear about people leaving Playground. You don't hear about people complaining about the new trajectory of where they're taking the Fable franchise. You don't hear anything about that. In fact, we didn't even know about this until just recently, with them having Jason Schreier come out and leak all this stuff. So they're keeping it under wraps for a reason. I have no idea why. Maybe because of the backlash that they originally got from the Crystal Dynamics team. But this also goes into what I believe happened, and that is, I think Microsoft had full intentions to buy Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal from Square Enix before Square Enix sold them to Embracer Group. But I think with the Activision Blizzard King deal going and happening right now, I think that took precedence over those other studios. And because of that, Square Enix didn't want to wait and just wanted to offload as many studios as they could. And I seriously think that Microsoft was intentionally going to buy those 2 game studios. And it kind of sucks that they missed out on that, because Square Enix Montreal, Crystal Dynamics, and Eidos Montreal, they are all great studios. They are all great at creating those worlds with Tomb Raider and Deus Ex and Legacy of Kain and Soul Reaver. These are all games that I played throughout my childhood, and I just love all of them, and they are a master at doing those games. And it sucks that Microsoft didn't get their hands on that. But I mean, if they ever do make those games, they're still going to be multi-platform, which is great. But I also think the whole point of what Embracer Group is doing is they're trying to buy a bunch of studios and IP, and then kind of bolster their net worth and sell them off as they see fit. And so if this ABK deal finally goes through, they could still be potential for Xbox to acquire Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal from Embracer Group, like Embracer Group did with Square Enix. And Embracer Group would probably pay, have Xbox pay a lot more money than they did, because they got those teams pretty cheap. But I don't think there's anything to be worried about. This is just normal. It's normal for games to have multiple teams come together and work on it. You see that with Doom, where Doom had pretty much every BGS studio go and work on Doom in some capacity, and all the enemies that were introduced, each team were able to create their own specific enemy and introduce it into the Doom world. So this is normal. Nothing to be afraid of, nothing to be upset about. Can't wait to get some more information on Fable, because it is not, we haven't heard anything since 2020. So I think they revealed it way too early, because they're still hiring for some really important roles in the developer cycle. Now we got to talk about what Phil Spencer has been saying recently. He has been spilling the beans on all things Xbox, with things like Xbox increasing the price of their games and services, potentially increasing the prices of the consoles, as well as the numbers for Game Pass. They didn't explicitly say like, hey, these are how many millions of people we have subscribed, but they did give us percentages of how much growth they have experienced and the revenue they are making from this services. So I kind of want to just jump into the price hike that they're trying to talk about, that they're expecting. Phil Spencer hints at future Xbox console game and subscription price increase. I think at some point we'll have to raise the price on certain things. Microsoft's head of gaming, Phil Spencer, suggested that Xbox consoles, games, and subscriptions may increase in price in the future. I think at some point we'll have to raise the prices on certain things, Spencer said via journalist Tom Warren, but going into the holiday, we thought it was important to maintain the prices. He added, we've held price on our console, we've held price on games and our subscription. I don't think we'll be able to do that forever. I do think at some point we'll have to raise some prices on certain things. I don't like that they're acting as if they're saving us from this price increase, because you're not doing us any favors. Like, you're a business, I get it, you're supposed to make money, and you are a business that is being run by a board, and you're supposed to be trying to appease all the board members and all the shareholders. And I get that, I understand that. But at the same time, I hate when a company comes out and is like, hey, look at what we're doing for you. Look, we're not increasing the prices on these consoles for you. Gee, thanks. I appreciate that. That's not something that you don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me that. Like, that is such a, like, and the fact that they're even talking about a price increase during a global pandemic and a global recession is such a shitty thing to do. And I had to keep that same energy that I had with PlayStation, because when they did it, I was upset. And if Xbox does it, I'm going to be just as upset, because that's not okay. This is not okay. People are struggling to get their hands on these consoles, not because they're hard to get, but because of the economic situation that the world is currently in. And so them trying to say like, hey, we're doing this, look, we're trying to hold out for the holidays, we're the good guys, it's a bad look. And at the same time, I understand. I get it at the same time, because your competition is doing the exact opposite of what you're trying to do, and you want to be where they are at. They're making hand over fist because they're charging $70 for their games, and God of War Ragnarok is probably going to sell extremely well, and that's a $70 game. So, but at the same time, that game is probably going to be worth $70. Xbox this generation has yet to really come out with a game that I think is worth $70. You had Halo Infinite, you had Forza Horizon 5, you had Psychonauts 2 and Deathloop and all these other, games that they've recently come out with, and the only one I think is actually worth $70 is probably Forza Horizon 5. But this is also something that they could probably be doing in order to get Game Pass subscribers, because yeah, you could pay $70 for this game, or you could subscribe to Game Pass and get it with your subscription. So this could kind of be playing both sides, but I just gotta keep that same energy. If they are gonna do this is a shitty thing, and I do not support that. I don't support the $70 games. I don't support them increasing the price of the Xbox game consoles. And they even said that Xbox Series S users, half of them are brand new to the ecosystem because they got in on the Series S, which is the cheaper option to next gen. So why would you want to ruin that? You're having an extreme amount of growth right now in markets that you never even had that much growth in, and you're gonna kind of stop that by charging more for your console. That's not good. I don't like that. Speaking of Game Pass and then potentially increasing the price, they've actually said that Xbox Game Pass growth is slowing down on console, claims Phil Spencer. However, the service has grown significantly on PC in the last year, according to Microsoft. I've seen growth slow down mainly because at some point you've reached everybody on console that wants to subscribe, he said. In the same interview, Phil Spencer claimed that Xbox Game Pass is 10 to 15% of its overall revenue and that the service is profitable for the company. PC Game Pass subscription increased 159% year over year, and with cloud gaming, we're transforming how games are distributed, played, and viewed. More than 20 million people have used that service to stream games to date. So they're saying that Xbox Game Pass is 10 to 15% of its overall revenue from its subscription services, and they also state that it is a very profitable service. So they're making money on this, and then not only are they making money, but they're going to make you charge more to get the same thing. Like, I get it, right? Like, I get the whole increasing price. Netflix has done it. Hulu's going to do it. It has done it. Disney's going to do it. HBO is going to do it. People do it all the time because they want more money. It's just a very selfish companies want money. Wow, go figure. But if they do this, I feel like do I think that Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is worth $20? If they do raise it to $20, I do think it's worth it. But at the same time, if you're gonna make me pay $20, $5 more a month, I expect to get some more things out of it. I don't just expect a raise in price and then have it be the same, because right now they still haven't had that good cadence of releasing first party games in a steady state. They haven't had anything this year really. And so if you're going to go and raise the price and not have your at least a big AAA game come every quarter, then why would I continue to be subscribed if you're not changing anything? So I feel like they will probably increase the Game Pass price once they start having that cadence, that release cadence that they want to have. And I think it's probably going to be somewhere in 2023 where they will finally release that price. But I also think they will come out with their Xbox Game Pass Family and Friends pack that they are currently testing out in other markets right now. I think that will be coming to America, and it will be more incentive for other people to kind of buy into the ecosystem. So I think that the whole plan of all this, raising the prices, so you raise your game prices to $70. What will happen? Well, people are not going to buy it as much, but they will go over to Game Pass, because why pay $70 when you can pay $15 and then get all those other games included as well? And then not only that, but you're going to increase the price of your subscription model, because now you're releasing games at a steady cadence, one right after the other, to allow people to stay in the service. That's why they're investing so heavily in these multiplayer games. That's why they're investing so heavily in these RPG games. And that's why they want you in the ecosystem. Those games keep you in Game Pass. If you had Call of Duty on Game Pass, you are probably going to be subscribed to Game Pass all year in order to continue playing Call of Duty. If you're going to go and play Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 6, Fallout 5, Starfield, Obsidian's games with Avowed and Fable and all those games, right? Whatever NXL is working on. They're all working on RPG games, and RPG games are games that take a while to beat. They're not games that you're gonna beat in a weekend and then cancel your subscription. They're gonna take you multiple weeks, if not a month or two, to get through some of them. So that's what they want. They want those games that kind of pad out that time, so that way you stay subscribed, and then obviously pay more for their services. So I see what they're doing, right? They're not coy, they're not sly. I get it. I fucking see you. I see you. But yeah, I think that's what they're trying to do. We'll see. But that's the thing. Phil Spencer himself has even acknowledged that they have a lack of first-party games. Phil Spencer acknowledges it's been too long since Xbox's last big first-party game, but the exec claims 2023 will be stronger for its first-party output. By the end of 2022, 5 games will have been published by Xbox Game Studios this year, but only one of those, Obsidian's Pentiment, will be an all-new game developed internally. The others are indie developed, As Dusk Falls, a Forza 5 expansion, an Age of Empires re-release, and Obsidian's Grounded, which has been in game preview for 2 years. One thing we've definitely heard loud and clear is it's been too long since we've shipped what people would say is a big first-party game, Phil Spencer said on the Same Brain video cast. We can have our excuses with COVID and other things, but in the end, I know people invest in our platform and they want to have a great game. We're excited about 2023, and we've talked about games that are coming, he said. Those games are tracking well, and we're out of what COVID did to the production schedule. And as an industry, we have fewer games this holiday than we've had in a while. When you think just about the launches, Call of Duty is coming, God of War is coming, which is great. Nintendo's had a good year, but in general, I would say we've been a little light. But I look at 2023, and there's a great lineup of games coming that I'm excited about. Getting our first real Xbox first-party games out of Bethesda, having them ship with Redfall and Starfield will be a lot of fun. So it's funny how he says it's been a light year, but then he calls out Call of Duty God of War. Like they had God of War, Ghostwire Tokyo, they had Horizon Forbidden West, they had GT7, they had Elden Ring was huge. Yeah, you had Gotham Knights released, you have Call of Duty, you have Callisto Protocol coming later this year. Nintendo had a big year. So even though he says it's been light, it really hasn't. It's been a decent year in my opinion. I think people just, during that summer month, it was kind of dead, but they've had really good releases on both ends of the year. But at the same time, yeah, Xbox is severely lacking on this front. And I hope 2023 has more to offer than Redfall, Starfield, and Forza. That sounds like a big ask, because it's like we are asking for a big AAA release every quarter. So that's if you release 1, 2, and 3, Forza in one quarter, Starfield in another, and Redfall in another. That's 3 of the 4. But we also have really great games coming to Xbox Game Pass later next year, like Lies of P, as well as Wolong. Those are 2 big AAA games that I'm really excited for. Well, Life of Pi isn't Life of Pi. Lies of P isn't really a AAA game. It's more of a AA game, but nonetheless, I'm still super excited and stoked to see that game and see how well it does. But this is true. Xbox is severely lacking this year. They had such a strong end to 2022 or to 2021, and now that we've been in 2022, it's just been so barren. And I do love Grounded a lot. I like that game a lot, but like they said, it's been in a preview for 2 years. And Pentiment, looking at Pentiment and the way it is, it doesn't look like it's going to be my cup of tea. But Obsidian always proves me wrong, so we'll see. But that's also not a AAA game. It's a AA game. And same with, in fact, it's probably an indie, just an indie game. Same with Grounded. Grounded is an indie game. Only like 14 people worked on that game. So I'm excited to see what Xbox has for the future, and I hope that they have some sort of show later in November, or they have a big presence at the Game Awards, because I hate how they just blow their load on E3 and then kind of just have nothing for the rest of the year. And I don't like that. I like the way that PlayStation does it. I like the way Nintendo does it with the Directs, and PlayStation with their State of Plays. They sprinkle things throughout the year for you to get excited about. But I wish that Xbox would do the same thing. Have a big blowout on E3, and then throughout the year just give small updates, maybe a gameplay footage here and there, stuff like that. Not how they did with Deathloop, where it just randomly dropped on their YouTube website and they didn't even try to market it at all. That's not how you do things. So Xbox needs to be better, and hopefully 2023 is the year. But that's the thing, I keep saying that. Hopefully this is the year. Hopefully that's the year. I've been saying that since fucking 2017. So here's hoping. But yeah, that's it for all the news. I appreciate you for stopping by. But let me know what you think. Are you excited for Fable? Are you excited for playing, getting your hands on Call of Duty and experiencing Modern Warfare 2 and have it kind of go back to classic Call of Duty? And do you think that they're actually going to increase the prices of any of their systems or consoles or subscriptions? Let me know in the comment section below. But again, I appreciate you for stopping by. Thank you. Be safe out there. And remember, take it easy.